Howdy peeps, and welcome back to the channel, and welcome back modelly peeps. Oh, that cable's going to get in the way no matter what I do. Yes, Sharpie's looking at a model kit again. Shock horror. I know it's been a while, and my modelly friends and subscribers will probably be thinking, when's he actually going to do some modelling stuff? All this damn fish stuff. I do strongly advise you check out the fishy stuff because fish keeping is a very cool hobby. Anyway, where are we? 1/35th scale Miniart T54-1 mod 1947. As probably most of you know, I love complicated kits with high parts counts. I love Russian armour, so win-win. Now, as Miniart kits go, this one is a simple one. As it says on the box lid, it's only 970 parts, so you know it's not the interior kit. So that would push it up way over 1,000. But you know, it's not the amount of parts; it's how they fit that's important. And I personally, I see the arguments, or not arguments, but people saying about how kits are too complicated, there are too many parts. There aren't. If you don't like sticking bits of plastic together, why are you building plastic model kits? That's just my take on the subject anyway. So, let's get on with this, shall we? Now, I did take the lid off just to check, because what I did was I pulled this off the shelf, out of the stash yesterday. Thought I'll build that, and then I realised I'd not done a review of it, so I thought I'd better build it, or better do a review first. Let's put an extra light on, that'll help. So we have instructions, put them over there, and 2 large bags of plastic. Let's dig in, shall we? We shall start out with the larger sprues. Cue annoying loud rustling noises off camera whilst I... oh jeez. Oh, where's my knife? Let's do this the easy way, shall we? And try not to slice through any of the plastic. Come on, bag, split. I'll put that to one side to check later. So, bag 1. Sprue D. Oh, a normal named sprue. Which for a Miniart kit is quite a surprise. I will just zoom us in a little bit. Yep. And then I'll have to keep an eye up rather than down as to what I'm looking at. So we have main turret halves, ring, etc. on here with some fenders, fender stays, turret hatches, lots of cool super fine detaily parts. We've got a really nice gentle, I suppose delicate texture on the cast turret. I mean, it's not overly noisy, so yeah. So all the other detail, as per usual with a Miniart kit, lovely and crisp. You can almost read it like braille. It's almost like you don't need the pictures. Backside, ooh, misses. As is usual. Most places where they can, they've avoided any ejector pin marks. We have the little ejector pin pads on the sprue tree. There are some on the underside of the upper hull centre bit where the turret ring goes, but it's not an interior kit, so that doesn't matter. And even if it was an interior kit, you'd never see that bit anyway unless you did it exploded view. So there we go. Sprue D, all looking rather good. And as we go through these sprues, you'll see I think this is a 53 sprue total kit, so quite low for Miniart. Here we have sprue C and CA, not the glue, the sprue. Quick swig. So sprue C, we have some of the, what looks like a lot of the plumbing for an engine. Wouldn't surprise me with Miniart if there was some interior in this, simply because it needs it for part of the construction. We have the final drive, guessing idle amounts, again more of the superfine pipe work, which has actually got detail on it. Various hatches and flaps, fender stays, stowage box tops, all sorts of various other bits, some with some really subtle weld detail on there. That's really nice. Could almost be confused with flash if you but it's meant to be there. And we have the fender ends, more, this is a running theme, we're going to have lots of very small parts, fine and delicate parts, what look like the surrounds for the turret, engine deck, back plate, more fender supports, lots of fiddly delicate little parts. Again, all very nice, very crisply moulded. Clean square edges on everything. Again, some more really nice weld detail on these parts. Not that it's ever going to focus on that. But yes, and again on the back, yes, there's some ejector pin marks in places where it doesn't matter. Places where you're never going to see. Then we have sprue E. Let's hold it the right way up, shall we? So again, more interesting looking parts. Just go away. Yeah, so more plates, hatches, stowage boxes, superfine parts, engine deck louvers. There are going to be parts of the interior on these sprues, as you know, I just take out the sprues that are pure interior stuff. And more top deck, more hatches, gun mantlet again with the same sort of like slightly coarser moulding texture or casting texture on it. But you'd expect to find that on a big heavy old gun mantlet. No foundry marks on, but again I'm not even sure if there should be. We've got the same lovely cast section on the commander's cupola, and some very nice stowage as well. With the very nice, some sweet texture and straps and everything all moulded in. And again, underside is, as we will find with probably all of the sprues in this kit, very nicely made, done and detailed. So what have we got next? The Miniart classic of the bag in the bag. Now, it's one of those where sometimes having everything in one big bag is a bad thing, sometimes it's a good thing. In Miniart's case, it's usually a good thing. I've yet to find things damaged because they're sharing a bag. Sprues are generally quite flat and they pack them together really well so they don't move or crush anything. So next we have sprue BA, or sprue Baracus as I would call it, on which we have the gun barrel. I'm guessing to be part of the upper deck, or maybe part of the interior. Looking at that, I think that's probably an interior sidewall. Yeah. Gun barrel, very nicely moulded, slide moulded, so hollow. Turret ring with the teeth on it. More large plates, the unditching log, which looks really nice. That's got some superb texture on it. Got the fine grain texture and then some good cracks in it as well. That'll definitely pick up a wash really nicely. And the same on the underside. So where we do have the ejector pins, they're not bad. Compared to some companies, they use absolutely minute ejector pins. And yeah, some various other parts. So this is the exhaust. As I said already, because of the way the kits are made and moulded, there will be some interior parts that we don't need. Sprue KB, which is just one of the toe cables. Again, very nicely detailed. A bit awkward to get it off. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we've got 10 sprue gates to clear up on that, but it's very nicely moulded, I've got to say that. If it stays on the tank straight, that'll look superb. Yep. Look just as good, if not better, than an aftermarket wire one. Let's see, I'm going to have to try and remember which sprues we've done now, aren't I? Because we're getting to the point where I'm going to be going, have I done this one yet? So GA, again lots of little fiddly bits. Look mainly like engine deck louvers, hatches, vision blocks and stowagey stuff. Very nice. Not a huge amount to say on that one. Oh, these two are the same, so we can pop one of those over. Sprue KC, named after Dee's goldfish. Does look like mainly driveline parts. So, has this got torsion bars? If it has, probably the torsion bar mounts, some various other bits, and a random shell with the straps around it. Again, very nice, crisp, clean, wonderfully moulded. Yeah, we're getting through to the multiples. So, sprue KD, on which we have our idlers, our sprockets, and some suspension arms. Again, beautifully crisp, zero flash as you'd expect. Mould seam wise, Miniarts tend not to suffer from bad mould seams, and I can't really see anything. I mean, there's obviously something there, but minuscule. First downside I've spotted, the way the sprockets are done with the sprue gate in between the teeth. That's just a bit of a pig to clean up. Getting the clippers in, then you've got to trim it all out with a knife, but hey, by the time you've got the tracks over them, they're barely visible anyway. But again, nicely detailed, crisp, clean, very lovely, bloody lovely. Going to be a little bit clean up needed on the suspension arms. We do have a raised ejector pin. They are two halves that glue together, but quick snip and a quick rub. Ooh, missus. Sometimes you got to have a quick rub. Right. KE. Which is, again, just this one's more ancillary greebly bits. Most of which are pretty much unidentifiable. Just random bits. Oh, itchy earlobe. There we go. So towing hooks do have the fuel can or fuel barrels. It's a Russian tank, of course it has fuel barrels, they're the best. And slide moulded as well, with locating mark parts or locating tabs for the end there. English sharp, it's your primary language, use it. Locating tabs for the ends of the barrel and hole for the fuel tap to go in. Yes, so the slide moulded barrel. Bane of the existence of Russian tank builders everywhere is the non-slider moulded barrel. Why? Because cleaning up the seam lines on them is a nightmare. So now we're on another teeny tiny sprue HD, which suspension bump stops and more random teeny weeny parts. Probably bump stops and return roller mount. You know you've built too many Russian tanks when you can do that. When you look at a kit like this and you can identify what most of the parts are, even if you don't know by name what they are. Sprue JA, again, more intricate, teeny tiny fiddly detaily parts, but all good. It all adds to the enjoyment of the build. Quite why they've needed to slide mould it, I have no idea. Oh no, they are moulded open at the end, whatever they are. As if anyone's ever going to look closely enough to notice those. Oh, where are we at? Let's have a look at some wheels, shall we? Ah yes, I do have a feeling we have. Torsion bars, Sprue HK. Oh yes, torsion bar suspension, the various end caps for the wheels, as I call them, the innie and the outie. And the place is very easy to get flashes on these wheels with the holes in them, and none at all. Beautiful, clean, crisp. We got a little around there, but a quick scrape with a knife, because that is a pretty complex mould to get that to be crisp and clean. So I'll let them off with that one. I mean, that's not what I'd call a flash problem. That's oh, I've got to do that one just as the name of the sprue, although we've got several of the same. This is Sprue Ho. Yeah, just to get that in there. More of the suspension arms and teeny tiny fiddly bits. Probably parts of the front suspension linkage for the idler. But yeah. Let's have a look, see what else we got. We've already done that one. And you know you've done too many kit reviews when you can look at the sprue from about 3 feet away and go, yeah, done that. So next is Sprue He, or HE, if you want to be. Now, don't be offended, but I take my modelling less than seriously. I enjoy a bit of a laugh. If you don't, I'm not the modeller for you. So more of the various mounts for the fuel barrels, etc. Tank of pass. Air tank, oil tank, something like that. And the ice cleats. So moulded in 2 parts, so you're going to have a seam sort all the way down the sides of that, but meh. Plenty of Tamiya extra thin, stick them together, give them a good squish, and then just sand off the bit that squishes out from the gap. Pardon me, getting a bit breezy up here. Right, rattle, 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 there go the rest of the road wheels. Being a Russian tank, there's quite a lot of them. And now those of you who are more used to building Tamiya tanks will have been going, well, where's the lower hull? He hasn't shown us the hull yet. Well, here it is. So on Sprue A. So we have the hull sides, lots and lots of eternal interior detail, the floor, MG, not slide moulded but not a problem. Lots of more greebly fiddly little parts, the inner mounts for all the torsion bars, that's the one. Rear bulkhead. As I say, things like the rear bulkhead and the floor might have to go in, as they may be the locating parts for other parts of the construction, being as we've got this separate hull sides and hull floor. Very nice, crisp, clean. Sensible about the detail underneath, not like anyone ever looks at the underside of a tank. And then on the inside got all the various mounting points for all the parts that go into it if you build the full interior version. Now the reason I didn't get the full interior version when I got this, back when, I can't remember, is that I believe I got this on Amazon at sort of, silly price. I think I paid about 30 quid for it, £30, sorry. So, one of those where you're not going to say no. So, last little bag of sprues. Now we have a sprue G, which does look mainly like interior bits. So we might find we're only using a couple of parts off of each of these sort of sprues. We do have what looks like a rather nice little SMG there, or part of an SMG. Yes, only Miniart would make the weapons in 35th scale in multiple parts. Has that got cast texture? Yeah. Even got the cast texture on the inside of the shell racks. Okay. We'll leave them to last. And then I'm guessing we have oh yeah, we're nearly there. So sprue K, idler wheels, Greeblies, another MG, other little tiny fine delicate parts, slide moulded. Is that an exhaust tip? Quite possibly. As you can see, detail on the back side of parts that need detail on the back side, whatever they are. Got little Russian style logos on them as well, which is always good. More Russian style logos the better. And then we have multiple sprues of sprue FH, sprue FML, considering what some people think really link tracks. And they are just the track links. So we have either 4 or 5 gates per link to cut and clean. Really nicely detailed. Do we have 2 different types? We have 1s and 2s. Ones with guide horns, one without. So yeah, a couple of hours of zen putting those together. And the little bag I put to one side, is it sealed or taped? I sealed it. Awkward peoples. I'm hoping I've had most of this in shot throughout. So clear parts, periscopes, driver's lights. It's a tank. Clear parts are clear parts. You don't worry about them. It's not like it's a cockpit or anything like that. Go. Let's look at the decals while we're here. Yeah, the camera's going to white out, but we have, they're thin, not too glossy. crisp in register. I'll do the job. And I think literally it's 2 unit markings, 2 numbers, and then 3 tiny Russian stars. Yeah. Russians on their armour tend not to be overboard with markings. It's not like it's a flanker where you've got about 600 different stencils on it. And yeah, this might seem a bit hack, but piece of card bent over. Piece of one of their box lids from another workshop diorama kit. And we have our photo etch, which mainly consists of straps for stowage, little hooky bits, tiny little greebly bits, most of which, to be fair, you probably wouldn't need to use, and then just the engine deck grills, which are really nice in 3D. They've got the over and under effect going on with them, which is always good. Rather than just a straight mesh, the mesh goes over and under, so adds an extra sense of depth and realism. We shall pop them back in there, pop that back in the box, and time to look through the destructions. The bit that some people really don't like, but tough. We just got to get this done relatively quick because we're running short on time. So marking options, as I said, green and white, or green, you know, not really much to it. So look through what we get. Oh, we've got one in the tricolour camo, optional summer camo, designed for use in the first half of the 50s. Start of the sprue map, do have the colour chart. In Ammo MiG, Humbrol, Mr. Colour, Testers, Vallejo. So plenty there, but most of them are pretty obvious and simple colours. Last of the sprue map, what the leg end means. And as you can see, you know, again, like the plastic, crisp, clean, sensibly laid out instructions, not too much going on in each step. What's going on makes sense. You know, the arrows point to where the bits should go, how they should go together, all the little sub-assemblies. And as we get through, as I said, we do have things like the floor going in, because I'm guessing that is probably a location for you know, mounting some of the other parts on. The firewall, or the engine firewall, so that the upper deck has something to sit on. All sides going in, firewall going in, wheels going together and on, front plate going in, rear lower plate going in, headlight assembly going together in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 parts. Rest of the rear plate, the front plate. You'll see with Miniart is the top hull isn't one big piece. It's normally 4, 5, 6, 7 sections that glue in. So getting it lined up is important. Various rest of the lower hull assembly going together. Hatches, PE clamps for the gas cylinders, or fuel barrels that go on the back. Again, more etch. The remote control machine gun station on the fender, which is always a cool thing to have. One on both sides, which each tracklet contains 90 or 10 fragments, 90 tracks, so it's 10 to put together 10 at a time. or 9 at a time, sorry. It's saying do 9 with the guide horn and 1 without. Well, that's interesting. Oh, kick the camera. And quickly rumble through the rest of this. Looks chaotic and busy, but trust me, it's not too bad. They all go together well. And then turret on, everything on. Sit back and admire. So there we go. Not so quick look through the Miniart T54-1 mod 1947. If you're thinking of getting the kit, go for it. Looks good to me. Hope you've enjoyed the video. Sorry it's a bit of a long one, but Miniart kits, you can't go through that quickly. Anyway, enjoy your modelling or your fish keeping or whatever. Peace out. Rock on. Don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, all that good jazz. Bye bye.